father, Zichrono Livracha, assumed the rabbinate of Elizabeth. His father-in-law, Rav Preil Zichrono Livracha, had been the Rav before him and had died in October 1933, leaving behind 4 young children, the oldest of whom was 18, and asking the city to wait until the 18-year-old married, and she married a Rav, to take him as the replacement. My father had come over from Europe in November of 1933, and it was during that time, with his perceptive eye, that he analyzed the situation that faced American Jewry.
Our father had a few favorite sayings. One of them was, be modern, be orthodox. And this was something very unusual to say in the 1930s, because people thought that being modern meant fleeing orthodoxy.
There were other arms of Yiddishkeit which diagnosed the problem as Yiddishkeit being sick. He analyzed the problem as being malnutrition. What was missing was the nutrition of Torah. And he took the position with the aim to establishing Torah education, not as an afterthought to public school education, which was commonplace then, but in its own right.
Rav Pinchas Teitz of Elizabeth, New Jersey, began teaching Gemara in Yiddish every Motzei Shabbos on the Daf HaShavua radio program. Grown men cried when they heard the sweet words of the Daf in the language they grew up with back home.
The first thing he wanted to do, in addition to making a mikveh, was to start a school. Because the sooner you got the child to a Shabbos party and to a model Seder, to saying Modeh Ani in the morning, to saying Shema Yisrael when going to sleep at night, that would immediately affect the parents. You had to let their children learn, and here it was going to be V'heshiv lev avos al banim v'lev banim al avosam. It was going to be the children who would bring the parents back to a sense of Jewish life.
We intend to utilize this house to give our children the best of American education, the best of Hebrew education.
It took a few years, but in October 1941, the school opened with 1 teacher, 3 grades, kindergarten, first and second grades, and 14 students. The hardest part in those days was finding the parents who were willing to give their children over to a person who at that time was not yet fluent in English.
My mother became very concerned that because we couldn't afford it, that I wouldn't get it. And I remember she swept me to Rabbi Teitz. And she said, Rebbe, I want very much that my son should learn and that he should go to Hebrew school. But I'm afraid I don't have money to pay for it. And the rabbi answered her and said, as long as I'm the rabbi in this town, your son will learn whether you pay or not.
It started out as a school which added a class per year until it reached the 6th grade. And then after a few years, the 7th and 8th grade were added, then the boys' high school, and then several years later, the girls' high school.
He focused in the 40s on giving girls the same education that he would give boys. He knew it was critical that the mothers, who are the ones who actually are on the forefront of dealing with our children and teaching their children, they have to have a thorough understanding of Torah, of the reasons that we do things.
He told the most interested parent, if you can get 10 girls together, we'll start the school. She canvassed, she campaigned, she got 10 girls together, and my father started the school with the 10 girls.
When Mrs. Newman came to Berea, the paradigm in education was, while all children aren't created equal, schools will teach all children equally. What my mother, Mrs. Chaim Newman Alaa Shalom, understood was that she had to create a program that both catered to the academic needs of students, but also gave students an opportunity to shine in the areas where they were unequal, in the areas where they were able to excel.
Today it is a complete educational system from nursery through high school.
When we tell stories of how Jews struggled so hard in the early days in America, it's real, it's here, and we're the result of all of those struggles.
One of the things that I love about coming to school and have loved on all the years that I've been here is that when you walk into the building here, everybody's happy. People are happy, the kids are happy, and that's an amazing thing.
I know that my kids are going to school happy each and every day. They get into carpool and they are happy. They come home and they feel like they have accomplished today. And they come home with an enthusiasm. They're excited about it.
We are still a very caring, small, intimate school where we know all of the boys, where we care for all of the boys, and where we connect with all of the boys.
There isn't a day that goes by that there isn't something special that's happening, whether it's a grade program, a school program, a Yom Yun, a team meet. There's always something happening in this building. We constantly want to get better, and I think that the fact that we feel that about the school, it makes the students feel that way about their own lives.
We're starting a leadership training initiative where our students are going to be running the show. What we're trying to do is build the future leaders of our people, of our communities, and we believe that that starts right when they walk into the doors the very first day of school.
Something that I look for when I go into a classroom is that the kids are learning on their own. They're engaged. I have children who are reading books, who are learning from a sefer, children who are working on sheets, kids using iPads, kids using Chromebooks, children showing what they know and engaging with the material in so many different ways that are true to our history and that are also true to the reality of our current world.
The beauty of this school is that there are many things that have stayed the same, from when I was here as a student to when my children are here now. The same warmth and love and family that you feel when you walk through the doors is still apparent. Yet there is so much that has changed and altered over the years. There is a huge push in technology, and the kids are thriving and learning so many amazing things.
The STEM program for us has been a tremendous asset, even more than we thought it would be.
To be part of the JEC family, to be part of 3 generations, myself, my children, and now my grandchildren, is a real source of nachas and pride. It's a values-based education. Values to learning and living and loving Torah is something that's personified in the school. It's not just empty talk. 75 years equates with literally thousands of Talmidim that have passed through these hallways, that have been influenced by the education and the friendships that they received here.
There's something that I've seen throughout all of our generations, whether coming from my mother or coming from my daughter and coming from myself, is that we learn Torah, we live Torah, and we love Torah. And this is really what the JEC is instilling into each and every generation.
And when I look at those iPads alongside highlights of our year, a Chumash play, a Hanukkah play, a Siddur play, it's building on the past to create an incredible future.
The future has never looked brighter. The JEC is right now at the cusp of greatness. 75 years is a long time. There's a lot of lessons to be learned from everything that was done from the vision of Rav Teitz up until today. And what I'm excited about personally is the next 75 years. The vision of the Board of Trustees, of Rav Teitz, that carries forward the lessons from yesterday and are bridging them with the thoughts and the hopes and the dreams of tomorrow. Because our goal is one and the same, and that's to build a future for the Jewish people that is thriving, that is energized, that is ecstatic to be Jewish and to live in the world and to contribute to the world.
Jewish education is really the best way to ensure a Jewish future, to make sure our children and generations to come receive Torah education, and the JEC represents the best of those values. And we'll do whatever we can to support that the JEC remains strong and vibrant and continues to educate hundreds of Jewish young men and women. We're very proud of our connection to the JEC, and we wish it well for generations to come.
And I think what my father would have been thinking as he would look and see the 3 thriving schools, and that its graduates are in the forefront of Jewish life, of communal life, as proud, educated, Torah Jews. I think he would perceive these all as that was the idea and the goal and the objective, and it's being accomplished.
The one thing that has stayed the same, and the Mitzvah Hashem will always be the same, is that foremost is the idea of producing Torah true Jews, seeing to it that what has been transmitted to us is transmitted onward in an unending chain to inculcate the learning of Torah, and through it the living of Torah, to come to the loving of Torah, while still being integrated into the modern day world.